Hello, and welcome to Pulverizer's Guide to Warrior Tanking. In this video I'll be going over the basics as well as the more complex aspects of warrior tanking. First of all, a proper talent specialization is the key factor to effective tanking. The most commonly used spec is 16, 3, 52. Also, glyphs are very important. Some must-have glyphs are Glyph of Blocking, Glyph of Devastate to get your sunders up on the target twice as fast, and I also use Glyph of Revenge. That's not one of the more important ones, so you can replace it with your tanking glyph of choice. For minor glyphs, there are a few choices. The best are Thunderclap, Charge, and Blood Rage. AOE tanking is something that every tank will have to learn how to master. You'll be tanking more AOE pools than any other pools in this game, and for warriors it's a little harder than other classes. It's important to do it right. To start on an AOE pool, get yourself some rage by using Blood Rage, then charge into battle. The first ability you'll be using is Thunderclap. This is your most important AOE ability. Follow the Thunderclap with a Shockwave once you have all the mobs into position. This is your second most important AOE tanking ability. In this pool, as shown on the video, I charge in, use my Thunderclap immediately followed by a Shockwave. This stuns them and allows me to get into position to continue my normal tanking rotation after that. On most pools, just these two moves, if executed properly, should give you a decent aggro lead ahead of the DPS. To maintain this lead, however, you must continue tanking. As soon as a Shockwave stun is worn off, hit your shield block ability. This will double your block value, allowing your damaging shield to hit for double the normal amount, thus double threat. This threat might seem minuscule, but I assure you, when it comes to raid DPS in higher tiers, it's things like this that'll make all the difference. Another great AOE tanking ability is Shield Reflect. If you're tanking mobs that cast spells, use this whenever they're casting at you, and it will reflect their spell back to them. This will cause threat on the target as well as damage them with their own spell. It's a great ability. Those are the AOE abilities you'll be using to tank, but those aren't the only abilities you will be using during the pull. Since during AOE pulls, rage is generally unlimited, it's important to spam Heroic Strike while tab targeting. Also throw in Shield Slams, Devastates, and Revenges between your AOE cooldowns for maximum threat. Priority on AOE pulls is always Thunderclap and Shockwave. Make sure you hit those abilities every time they're off cooldown. Single target tanking can be much more simple but can also be much more threat intensive. To set up, use your Blood Rage to gain rage, pull the mob using Heroic Throw, then charge in. This is where it differs from AOE tanking. During the charge you want to hit your shield block ability and immediately open up on the target with a Shield Slam. Since your shield block ability doubled your block value, your Shield Slam should hit for 2 times the damage and generate about 2 times the threat. Your next priority after the initial Shield Slam is to put up sunders. Using your Glyph Devastate should be simple to get 5 sunders up in your target quickly, then you can start into your normal single target tanking rotation. At this point you will want to put mitigation up, so use your Thunderclap and Demoralizing Shout abilities and refresh them as needed to keep the debuffs on the target. For single target tanking, Shield Slam is your biggest threat ability, so you want to make sure you use it every time it's off cooldown, or if you proc your sword board talent. Since single target tanking is almost always an unlimited rage situation, it's important to be using Heroic Strike on every swing. You should also be using Devastate between your Shield Slam and Revenge cooldowns to keep up sunders, and take advantage of every global cooldown, so none go to waste. Continue refreshing Thunderclap and Demoralizing Shout as well as keeping up a healthy tanking rotation, and you shouldn't have any problems at all. An ability that is often overlooked for threat generation is Shield Bash. On a boss or mobs that don't cast spells, this ability is great for threat generation, and it doesn't trigger the global cooldown, which means you can throw it in whenever it's up for some bonus threat, and it won't mess up your normal tanking rotation at all. Another ability that is commonly overlooked is Concussion Blow. It causes high damage, stuns the target, and it's also high threat, so use this ability whenever it's off cooldown. Thanks for watching my video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments or message me in game. Happy tanking!